Now, it is Christmas Eve, but actually it is the last week of the year 2018. And we are taking a review at some of the biggest stories in the year across various sectors. So let's begin with a review of arts and culture through 2018 in Africa. What's been the biggest stories from music to dance and film? Here we go.
The 2018 cultural season kicked off with the highly anticipated release of the film Black Panther in February, the first black superhero from Marvel Studios. The casting of the film paraded a slate of Hollywood black actors including Chadwick Boseman, Daniel Kaluuya, Angela Bassett, and Michael B. Jordan.
Don't freeze. I never freeze.
Black Panther brings the stereotype image of Africa as slaves of colonization and disaster to creating a picture of a rich and never colonized region. The film received a warm welcome on the continent as here in Kenya.
That's a very important statement to the world. That a comic series, Marvel Studios, could have a movie entirely based on African characters. That is so nice. It's going to turn away some of these stereotypes we have about Africans.
Black Panther, a turning point in the representation of blacks on the screen and in their weight in the Hollywood. The film is in the 9th position among the biggest hit of all time with $1.346 billion in revenue. Does culture really go hand in hand with freedom of expression? Not always. 2018 saw a series of controversies. In Zimbabwe, for instance, a play recalling the massacres committed by President Mugabe's regime in the early 1980s was finally staged. Banned in 2012 by the former president, but his great fall in November convinces author that the time had come to present to the public the Black Years of 1983. Written by Bakumusa Moyo, it describes the most graphic detail the violence inflicted on the population after independence in 1980.
Imagine if it was your brother, if it was your mother, but they are still up there. To make matters worse, you know what they do? You are not allowed to talk about it. You are not allowed to comment. Why?
Why?
The world of culture no longer seems ready to remain silent. Bound for several months in Kenya on the grounds that it deals with a love between two young girls, the film Rafiki was finally shown in Nairobi by court order. Determined that her film will be able to run for an Oscar nomination, director Kanuri Kahiu took the case to court to get the censorship lifted and won. The film was finally not selected, but in just a week of exploitation, it became the second largest historical recipe for a Kenyan film. Should Western Museum return to Africa cultural objects taken out of the continent during the looting? The debate resurfaced this year. After the submission in November of a report on the restitution of African heritage commissioned by Emmanuel Macron from two historians, the French president wants French museums to return these collectors' items within 5 years, starting with Benin, to which 26 works taken by French army in 1892 will be returned. An announcement that makes European conservatives tremble. But for many African countries, it is above all a question of restoring dignity and claiming part of the African history which has been erased by colonization. Fela Kuti's spirit must return to Nigeria. This is what rapper Falz, the bad guy, claims, the heir to the king of Afrobeat. His video clip, This is Nigeria, received over 4 million views on YouTube in less than 2 weeks, and that triggered a tornado of comments on social media. The artist denounced the widespread violence and corruption in the country, where artists are more likely to spread their money than to spread the truth.
Everyone is carried away with entertainment and just enjoying life, and we sort of forget that, a lot of things are happening here in Africa as a whole, as a continent. There are a lot of issues and struggles we're going through, you know, that we need to continuously talk about.
Falz encourages Nigerian artists to use their popularity to raise awareness in the society ahead of the upcoming elections. Nigeria and Nollywood film industry are still making their mark on the world scene.
In Lionheart.
And this Igwe Pascal.
One of her most famous actresses and now director, Genevieve Inaji, presented her film Lionheart at the Toronto Film Festival in September. And the American giant Netflix announced that it had bought the world rights. The film will be broadcasted to the millions of subscribers of the channel and streaming on all the continent.
Your father knows what I can do, and that was why he brought me into this. Everybody here is a winner.
2018, a year marked by the disappearance of legends, starting with Hugh Masekela. A trumpeter died on January 23rd at the age of 78 from cancer, raising a shower of tribute to salute his long career and his commitment against apartheid.
No one has ever utilized music in the way that Hugh did in order to deliver his message of truth and equality in this uncaring and unfair world.
The disease also killed the Burkinabe director Idrissa Ouedraogo, who died on February 18th at the age of 64. An emblematic figure of the African cinema from the 1980s to 2000. After some 40 films, Idrissa Ouedraogo was awarded at the most prestigious festival, winning Grand Prix du Jury in Cannes for Tilia in 1990. Respect, I Say a Little Prayer, Unnatural Woman. On August 16th, one of the greatest voices of soul was forever silent. Aretha Franklin died at the age of 76 of cancer. She leaves behind a legendary repertoire and an unpublished documentary, Amazing Grace, filmed in 1972 by Sidney Pollack. It's basically ups and down in 2018, but we're looking forward to an amazing 2019.
Voilà donc pour cet temps fort.
That was a special report by Bridget Ogwe and Howard Suleiman Isa. We're coming back shortly after this break to bring you the second part of the program.
Indeed, a very broad review there. If you're just joining us, you're watching the Morning Call. We are live for you from our studios in the Republic of Congo. On our website, Africanews.com, you can watch our broadcast live in English and in French. For those on the Canal Sat network, you can choose your you can choose either of the languages to watch the program on by changing the settings. Now, still to come on the program. It was a taboo to have a tattoo, but now all of that is changing in Tunisia as the first tattoo school opens in the country. And in sports, Spanish giant Real Madrid wins Club World Cup for the third time consecutively. All of this plus much more sports. We will return after the break. Stay with us.